About diabetes with Barnai Roberto.
Diabetes is a very common disease in our day. It is difficult to find a man in which sometimes does not rise or fall sugar level. Conventional medicine can regulate sugar levels in different ways, insulin or glycogen. What symptomatic treatment is effective? Up to this day it doesn't know the background of this disease. That's why I would like to explain this. The level of sugar is important for man from the point of view of supplying him with energy. There are basically two issues that determine the level of blood sugar. One when the sugar goes to the blood, while the other when the blood sugar reaches the muscle, where it actually is used. Too high sugar levels cause emotional conflicts during which a man desires someone or something to oppose, feels resistance, wants to counter or fight something. Someone is constantly imposing his will on me. I cannot do what I want. I still have to do what others want, and I would like something else. When someone has such feelings, sugar levels increase. What could be the biological reason for this condition? The reason for high sugar levels is a drop of insulin level in the blood. This results in the inability to take blood sugar from the muscles. This change, the so-called special program, occurs during an active period of illness when conflict occurs. Let's see what it can make sense of. When insulin level drop, blood sugar rises. Because the central nervous system does not need insulin to collect and process blood sugar. Therefore, during the conflict, the main purpose of the conflict is to supply sugar to the nervous system, to find a solution to our problem more quickly and more efficiently. When a person calms down, then again will start adjusting the sugar level. As a result, the muscles will suddenly receive a large dose of energy. Next to the conflict of discord, another conflict affecting the level of sugar, there is a conflict of disgust. If someone abandons something or situation, such as a family event or something or a human being, feeling intense in this regard, then his sugar level drops. How is it possible for someone to drop sugar? Sugar goes to the blood from the intestine or from the liver, processed carbohydrates with glycogen. When disagreements arise, the production of glycogen decreases, which results in the lack of adequate blood sugar. The physiological consequence of this condition is the appearance of a wolf's appetite in man. This is the easiest noticeable symptom of low blood sugar. What is the biological meaning of this? If I'm up for something, I usually do not eat it. The lack of nutrition is biologically and physiologically dangerous from the standpoint of species sustainability. After all, if I do not eat for a long time, I will weaken. That is why Mother Nature, through this reaction, attempts to rid me of disgust, wanting to lead me out of this conflict. Because if someone starts eating, even being forced to do so, sooner or later they will get rid of the disgusted conflict. This is ultimately a very simple mechanism, but we have not known its background so far. Where is the beginning? What does it depend on someone to raise and lower sugar levels? Now we can understand this. So if someone does not fit his condition, maybe by calming the emotional swings, by getting rid of fears. Normalize your sugar level. It is not worthwhile to hold such conflicts for a long time, because Mother Nature designed this kind of biological programs as relatively short-lived. In biology, it is absolutely not normal or normal if someone is stuck in such a conflict. The already described biological reactions Mother Nature planned as a short-lived. So if they last long or could last long, then only due to the fact that the emotional conflict that is causing them lasts long. There is only one way to regulate the sugar level. You must solve emotional conflicts and get rid of fear. You have to sort out and get rid of the negative feelings. It's the only way for a person to get out of sugar or diabetes. People are distracted that if they have too much sugar for too long, it will be blind, they will be handicapped, they will get hurt. This is not confirmed by evidence. However, if someone starts to measure sugar and finds that he has been too high for a month, and they told him that it was blind, it will fall away from this into another conflict. It goes through not only a conflict of disagreement but also trembles from loss of sight. For someone to be disturbed to see changes to the optic nerve, you need a conflict of bad perception and therefore a fear of losing sight. Thus, without conflict there will be no damage to the vision, just as there will be no accompanying symptoms that also result from various types of conflict. Simplifying, people should take note and start to realize, if they are able to deal with a conflict or a set of conflicts with the same emotional background, you will no longer have to talk about complications and consequences, because going the natural way without any interference from the outside, the level of sugar itself is normalized. With diabetes, when we are out of the disease symptoms, diseases occur during the so-called epileptic crisis. The epileptic crisis is in fact the physiological transition of our body into a sympathetic state. In the active period of illness, the sympathetic system is overloaded. At the time of leaving the disease, parasympathetic system is overloaded. So in the middle of the period of getting out of the disease comes a physiological phenomenon called epileptic crisis, when our body switches briefly into sympathy, a tone state. This is not caused by conflict, it just happens mandatory during each disease, not only during diabetes. On the other hand, symptoms of this condition are already different and depend on the particular disease. If at somebody during the active period of illness sugar was too high, his level was higher, it is in this person during the epileptic crisis without any external stimulus, new conflict or conflict, the sugar level will rise again. This is called a hyperglycemic breakthrough. On the other hand, when the changes are characterized by low sugar, during an epileptic crisis also falls the level of sugar without any external stimulus. It is good that we already know the principle of this mechanism. We know what phenomenon occurs and when it occurs. We also know when we can expect more or less, and if we prepare for it properly. It's because of insulin or glucose infusion experts have it. Appropriate ways we can reliably survive these conditions survive. It is very rare that someone directly has complications for this reason. We can in time to distinguish these shock states. And when a man realizes that emotional conflict no longer exists, just going through the crisis now. He knows that when the crisis passes, the sugar level is normalized. He no longer has to fear that it is a matter independent of him. He can know and experience that these states are inextricably linked with emotional swings. And when there is no emotional swing, the body does not need to react. It may then work in a manner consistent with its normal equilibrium, just as before the conflict. Diabetes is not hereditary, just like no other disease is inherited. Such are the facts. It has been proven and supported by science that no disease change or special biological programs are transmitted through genetic information. In order for someone to experience a particular change or phenomenon, he or she must someone to fall into the appropriate inducing change emotional conflict. The other point is that if a mother lives in a very unsuccessful marriage where she feels bad and cannot be herself, still has to subdue someone, feeling compelled or forever feeling in opposition, and her child sees this, if in his childhood he will also be in a similar situation, how can it be predicted in advance as will his mother? And because she reacts the same way by going through a similar emotional conflict like his mother, because actually learned these reactions from the parent, you will experience the same physiological symptoms. So there are no hereditary diseases, there are only duplicated patterns of emotional conflicts. If someone suffers from the same conflict as his parent, guardian, or even any other person living with him, this will give him the same reaction.